Michael, welcome to Barnsley Football Club. You had more suitors than just Barnsley. Why was it Barnsley that you decided for the next phase of your coaching and managing career?
I think the next move was always going to be a big move. I needed to make sure it was the right one, not just professionally but personally as well. So I did speak to 2 or 3 other clubs, and ultimately it came down to, I think there's a project to be built here. It seems to be a bit distorted and a few noses pointing in different directions, but I think the vibe that I got from everyone that I spoke to is they want to build it back to what it is. It's a community club. It's very similar to a club I spent 15 years at in Burnley in terms of the fan base, the size of the club, the people, and it's something that really excited me. So that's why I made the decision that I did.
Clearly, you've impressed the club. What did you get from Khalid and the rest of the board in terms of their vision to impress you and make you decide that he was the right choice?
Probably everything that I've just said. Ultimately, the long-term goal is to try and get promoted and sustain it. That's the long-term vision. And then obviously, once you've done that, you can start looking further ahead. But that is a long-term vision. I'm a big believer in processes. I'm a big believer in building step by step. So the first thing is to try and connect everyone back together, moving in the same direction, and then hopefully it snowballs from there.
And clearly nothing is guaranteed in football, but a 3-year contract seems to suggest that the club has put its faith in you to deliver that kind of long-term vision.
I've been in it long enough to realise that it's a results-based story. I can't. If I don't win enough games, no matter how much you talk, you have to win games ultimately. But it shows a little bit of faith, hopefully.
And you mentioned a little bit already that there is clearly a rebuilding job to be done here. There's been changes at boardroom level. There was a disconnect, certainly towards the end of last season, between the supporter base and the club. How aware are you about all that and the task that's ahead from that perspective?
No, I've come in with my eyes wide open. I don't think anyone's trying to hoodwink me or call me. I know there's been things going on at boardroom level, but ultimately I've had 2 or 3 conversations with the chairman, Nirath, lots and lots of dialogue with Khalid. So I know there's things that are broken, and I know there's things that are a priority to try and to fix as quickly as possible.
Does it feel like a fresh start for everyone really at the club, with changes at boardroom level, yourself coming in? Clearly there will be changes in the playing staff too.
I don't know, it's a fresh start for me, so I can't speak for everyone else at the football club. Some people might like me, some people might not. All I can do is control the things that I'm in control of. So for me, it's obviously a fresh start, it's a fresh challenge, but it's something that I'm excited and can't wait to get started.
Clearly you had 4 very successful years at Cheltenham. Just how difficult a decision was it to leave that football club?
Just as difficult as it was to leave Burnley after 15 years. So the reason why I made that decision, because it was I think we were 3rd from bottom in League 2 at the time, the club was a mess as well. But I made that decision based on my family. I wanted to move my family back home, because that's where they're from, that's where they're based. And when I say my family, I mean my whole family, both in-laws, my family and my immediate family. This decision's been made on my career. So because my family is settled and they've got all the infrastructure to look after them, I can focus on my career. So that's why it's been a really tough decision. Part of the decision was I'll always live in Cheltenham, will be my home forever now. So if I get the sack tomorrow, I'll move back to Cheltenham. If I retire when I'm 60, I'll be in Cheltenham. So I didn't want to outstay my welcome there. We've had really good success. We've taken them from a 2nd, 3rd bottom in League 2 to comfortable mid-table, won a championship which they've never done before, highest ever league position. So it's, no matter what anyone says, whether they think it's the right decision or the wrong decision, they can't question the success that we had as a football club. So I'm comfortable with that.
Clearly loyalty seems a big thing for you, having had 2 clubs over your entire career. It's pretty unusual, isn't it, in the world of football?
Yeah, again, so I think it shows that the next club had to be what I think or what I hope will be the right move. I did have other things, not just this summer, but other things that have been sort of sniffs and things like that, but I needed to make sure it was the right one, because it is 27 years at 2 football clubs. Doesn't happen very often, I don't think. So I think I've been blessed, I think I've been lucky, but ultimately I've been successful at the 2 football clubs as well, which is probably why I hung around so long.
What have your first impressions been of Barnsley since arriving?
I think there's an excitement. I think that there's an awareness, which is good from my part in terms of there is an awareness that there is a bit of a disconnect in certain parts of the town and the football club. So hopefully there's the reality that it might not happen overnight, and that's not me being evasive. That's the reality in it, in my opinion. But everyone's welcomed me. I'm desperate for Monday to start, so I can meet all of the players. Obviously, there's a few players in and out at the minute, but to meet the group and basically start getting my hands dirty.
What are the expectations this season, both from the club and yourself, of what success looks like?
Well, exactly what I've just said before. I'm a big believer in processes. You need to get things right. Results take care of themselves. So if you just focus on the result, I think you trip over. And if you look too far down into the future, you trip over. So let's get the immediate things sorted. And results are a byproduct of environment, culture, coaching, all those things. So I'm not obsessed with results because I believe in if I can do the things I want to do and implement the things I want to do, I think results will come as a byproduct. So if we can do that, we'll soon know to see where it'll take us.
But you'll understand that there'll be an expectation and a hope from certainly the supporter base that as a club that's just come down from the Championship, that's had a couple of promotions from League One to the Championship over recent years, that will probably be the aim from their eyes for this season.
The aim for me is to win the next game of football. You might think there's some big clubs in this league. Ipswich budget was probably 2 or 3 times what ours will be this year, and they never made the playoffs. If we can put the things in place, I won a Championship 2 years ago, not once did I say we'd win the league. Let's just focus on the next game and make sure we're all right for that one, and then all of a sudden you're 30 games in and you're second, third, first in the league or whatever it is. I understand there will be an expectation from the football club, I'm fully aware of that, but it's my job to take care of the day-to-day running, and again, results will come hopefully.
How will the experience in League One last season and the teams that you've played against help you this year and the challenges that Barnsley are going to face?
Well, again, like I said, there's sometimes when teams get relegated, we'll get promoted next season. It's a tough league. There's 2 leagues within the league, so there's teams that stayed up last year with 40 points, which is unheard of, because it was so hard for the teams at the bottom of the league to beat the teams at the top half of the league. And I'm repeating myself, the teams that didn't make the playoffs, big teams, ex-Premier League teams in Charlton and Portsmouth. And then I'm only talking in the top 12. So it's going to be a challenge. It won't be a breeze. If supporters think, we've been relegated, we just need to rock up, put 11 players in red on the pitch and we'll win, that won't happen. I can assure you that.
How helpful has Martin Devaney been in kind of talking you around the club, and is he going to be an integral part of your first team coaching setup?
Yeah, Martin, he's been good. Obviously, he's lived and breathed it for, I don't know, how long he's been here, 13, 14 years, I think. So it's good to have that sort of insight into the expectation of the supporters, the people. I've known Martin for, well over 20 years now. I think we played together 22 years, but I knew him before that as well. So he'll be part of the first team setup. I'll be bringing somebody in as well. So that isn't done and dusted yet, so I will be bringing somebody else in as well. So I think it's good to have continuity, but I think it's good to have a fresh couple of pairs of eyes and fresh ideas as well.
What kind of football can Barnsley fans expect to see under Michael Duff?
Well, we've been a back 3, whether that's a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2, generally a 3-5-2. I like 2 centre forwards on the pitch. The best way I can describe it is we try and play mixed football. I try not to pigeonhole myself into we mix it up. We will play out from the back, but I'm not frightened to go in behind as well. I understand again the need for what the supporters want. They don't want to have it at Burnley where we had a manager and it was, we had 75 passes before we'd crossed the halfway line, and I understand the supporters won't want that. But we will mix it up. It won't be just route one. Big focus on set plays as well. And ultimately try and win as many parts of the game as you can. Have an underdog mentality. So I think that's one thing we need to do. I think that is the spirit of the town, of an underdog mentality, which is what I don't like. We've been relegated. We'll just get promoted. Well, that isn't the feel of the town. everyone's had to fight and scrap for everything, generally, and I think we need to try and get the team to sort of replicate that sort of spirit.
How much involvement will you have in the recruitment process here? Because it's a head coach role, and people have varying levels of kind of input into that. What have you been told about that part of it?
I spent 4 hours with the analysts yesterday, getting an understanding of how they work it. A lot of it is, you know, the names that are on the list, the names that were on my list at Cheltenham that I know of, because it's ultimately it takes out a lot of the noise and emotion, but ultimately I will make the final decision on a lot of them.
Have you sort of kind of been given assurances about what you're going to be able to do in the transfer market this summer, and whether players will have to leave? We know there's a big drop in budget from the Championship to League One to enable you to do what you want to do.
I've been given no assurances in terms of, because you can't guarantee things in football other than the fact that I'll probably get sacked at some point. So I've had loads of conversations with Khalid. There is obviously a restructure. There will, a couple of players might have to leave. There's no names of who they'll be or how much there will be or what there is to spend. Ultimately, I spent £15,000 at Cheltenham and we were pretty successful. I'm not saying there's a lot more money to spend than that, but I don't think money's the be all and end all. If you can create all the right, all the right recruitment team with the right players, with the right mentality, into some good coaching, I believe that you can get the results that you need. So, in answer to your question, I've been given no assurances, but I'm fully aware of the situation.
Are you aware of existing bids for players as you come in? Have you got as far as looking at players who might come in?
As I'm aware of players that might come in. As far as I'm aware, there's not been one bid for a player yet.
And the club has talked this summer about going for a little bit more experience as well. There's been a youth policy over the last few years where very few players over the age of, say, mid-20s have been in. Is that something that you welcome, to have a little bit more balance in the squad as you try and achieve something in League One?
Yeah, a conversation I had with Khalid again, in terms of, obviously the club's remit is to sell and to generate and be sustainable. But sometimes when you do go on a bad run, you do need a little bit of experience just to lead the way. Because you've only got 20-year-olds, and they lose 3 or 4 games in a row. They don't know where to look. They need to look to somebody to guide them who's been through it before. So it is, you know, I don't think we'll be signing 5 or 6 35-year-olds, but I think there is a realisation that they might have to just slightly tweak the model that was the last couple of years.
So what do the next few weeks look like? What are your priorities as you bed into life here at Oakwell?
Well, obviously getting to know the players, whether there's players coming in, coming out, giving the players a clear understanding of what I expect from them. Some of them might not like it and might ask to leave. Some of them might want to leave to move on to pastures new. It's not always quite that simple. The money in football at the minute isn't what it was, particularly at these levels of the Championship level. But ultimately, just introduce myself to the players, try and give them an understanding that I'm here to help them. You know, I need them, hopefully they need me, and together with the supporters and the club and everything like that, again, you can build something and start putting a bit of a feel-good factor back into the place.
Just finally from me, you excited?
Yeah, like I said, I can't wait for Monday. You know, I've been up here all week and looking around and watching games on TV, meeting different people, but ultimately, you know, my job isn't to sit in a suit, it's to get on the grass and work with the players, and that's the thing I'm most excited about.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, you, as a player, obviously we've read you came up 8 divisions to the Premier League. I mean, that sort of journey, what did that give you as a player, and that you've taken into your coaching career?
I think I've worked, well, the fact that I've worked at every level, I've seen every type of ego there is, I've seen every type of ability there is. The reason why that happened, and I climbed the leagues, is because I wasn't a particularly good player, but I had a good mentality. I was prepared to work hard and get every ounce out of my ability. So that's what I've been trying to do with the players. It doesn't always work, but hopefully I can show that if you do apply yourself right, you can get to the levels, but don't expect to be given it. You've got to go and work hard for it. And you know, the players will soon get bored of me saying I'm a firm believer that hard work pays you back, and it might not come straight away, but long term, if you work hard enough, you'll earn your rewards, rather than expecting somebody to just come and give you your reward.
And during that playing career, you played against Barnsley numerous times, I think. What was your general impression of the club and here and the fans when you came up against them?
It was always a difficult place to come. I don't think anyone particularly enjoyed coming to Barnsley, particularly on a Tuesday night. The weather was normally pretty poor. But I was coming from Burnley, so it was poor. Like I said, the feel of the fabric, that everything is very similar to Burnley. I don't want to keep referencing it, but I spent 15 years of my life there, so it is a big part of me. And you've seen what they've gone on to achieve. The first promotion was unheard of, and then obviously Daichi did it but built it, and that was with a promotion and relegation and promotion as well. So it was never we never came to Barnsley and thought, well, we'll just rock up today, we won't need to roll our sleeves up, we'll just play our good football and we'll walk home with 3 points. That was never ever the case.
You mentioned about bringing another coach in and working with Devaney as well. We had Tom Harbin and Joe Lamb working with the first team towards the end of last season. Will they stay in those roles?
Well, Tom will sort of be a hybrid, so he'll come in and do some particularly more probably individual work with players who maybe aren't in the squad with the younger ones. So he'll basically, the best way I can describe it, he'll be a hybrid between the 18s, the 23s and the first team.
And Joe?
Joe will be with the 18s and the 23s.
Okay, great, thank you. And with Devaney, it's probably quite unusual to come to a new club that you've never been before and have someone who not only knows the club but also you played with for so long. It's worked out quite well in that way.
Well, it works funny, football. You know, I moved from Burnley to Cheltenham, and the existing assistant manager and the goalkeeper coach were two players that I played with as well previously, who were 10 years older than me. So I've been lucky. It might be lucky. It might be. I don't know whether it's fate or what. But I know Martin is. I know his wife. I know his family. So it's nice to have a familiar face when you do walk into a completely new environment.
What are the sort of fundamentals, not just in terms of playing style, but just around the club and in the dressing room and everything that you'll be demanding of the players from day one?
I think the first one is this: it's just no egos. Don't make it about yourself. You make it about yourself. The 11 that are on the pitch are always the most important, and they will always be my focus. I have to look after 30 players, but on a Saturday they're the most important. So if a sub comes off and a sub comes on, he's now the most important. I'll do everything I can for every single player, but the moment you make it about you, it has to be a team ethic. Because if the team wins, we all win. If the team keeps winning, the town's winning, I'm winning, the players are winning because they're getting more kudos, they're getting more win bonuses, and if you end up getting promoted, everything's a byproduct of all those things. But it always focus has to be on the 11.
Obviously, it was a really tough season for the club last season, and stats not great, but league position not great. So, how difficult would that be to sort of move on and change the move from that? And is that your first sort of priority to sort of pick players up and fans as well?
Well, hopefully it's fresh ideas. Hopefully the players will buy into it. I can't guarantee anything, but it's been proven as a player that I know what it took in. I think I had 6 promotions as a player. Now that's irrelevant what I did as a player, but I knew what it was. I knew what it was like in the dressing room, the feel of the dressing room, and we had that same feeling at my previous club. Finishing where we did, it was a group mentality. And as a result of that, the captain's just gone to Huddersfield. So that's what I mean about being a byproduct of the team. Individuals get recognised. Last year we sold a captain to Wrexham. So the players will get recognised for it, but they can't do it on their own. One player can't go out and beat 11 other players. So there needs to be that group mentality.
You mentioned that a few players might move on. Obviously, one Barnsley player played against England this week for Hungary. Callum Starr's obviously making a bit of a name for himself. Is it realistic, do you think, to keep him this summer?
I think it's a difficult question to answer at the minute. I don't, as far as I'm aware, there's not been a bid. So there'll be contingency plans. There always is at every football club. You always have a list of if that person goes, well, he's the person we'll go for. He's the person we'll go for. So I think it's great. I think it's great that he actually got released from Burnley. I think 6 months before I took the team's job. And then got into Barry's team first about 6 months later, which I couldn't believe. So I've known about Callum for a long time, and I think it's fantastic that the experience that he's had the other night.
Part of your job is to persuade maybe not him or some players to stay and be part of your project?
I don't know whether it's persuading them, it's giving them a clear idea of what we want to do here, and if they want to be part of it or not. But I've been in dressing rooms where players get relegated and the whole team says, right, well that's me done, I'm off back to the level that I've just been from. And I said, you can't all be championship players because you can relegate out of the championship. So there needs to be a reality within that. The champion doesn't have a lot of money at the minute. So if the club get bids, we'll deal with it accordingly.
And there's a few out of contract players at the moment. Is there any news on them? Are you expecting them to sign or be involved in training next week, or is it to be decided?
I've not got that far into it yet, so I can't give you any details on that yet.
Possibility of bringing any players in from Cheltenham this summer?
Again, I've had chats where we've not got into that sort of depth. It's meeting what people do within the club rather than right, we're going to sign him or this player come in as well. So it isn't evasive because it's the truth. I don't know the answer to it.
And last one from me, I think one player you worked with Josh Benson at Burnley. And what would you say about him, and looking forward to working with him again?
Yeah, I signed Josh from into the under-23s, released at Arsenal. Very, very good footballer, as I'm sure people will see. The thing he learned at Burnley was the other side of the game, the physical side and the tactical side. And obviously that's why Barnsley paid a lot of money for him. I've not seen him play much recently, but I'm looking forward to working with him. He will know what's coming, so I'm sure the other players have told him, because I'm exactly the same now as what I was when I was doing the 23s, have the same demands, same expectations. So he might not like it, he might be the first one knocking the door to say he wants to leave, but I had a good working relationship, and hopefully he understands that, I tried to help him. He ends up going from a free to a few £100,000 move here, so he's a good player, and hopefully we can do that with all of them.
He's probably one of the few whose confidence might have taken a little bit of a knock last season. Maybe didn't go how he wanted, so is it kind of arm around the shoulder, pick him up kind of situation, while also being disciplined as well?
Well, I think it's just last year's gone. You need to park it out, can't wallow in, and that's the same as someone asked me a question about Barnes in the Premier League. Fantastic, brilliant hits, but it's gone off that long and not in control of anything that happened up until now. So, understand, recognise and feel the hurt from last season and feel the disappointment and have the reality check within it that all of the players were part of the problem as well as other things that were going on. You can't pin it on other people. Look in the mirror. Why was I responsible? Did I do everything I can? I can't answer these questions. But, park it up now because it's a positive, fresh start. There's something to look forward to. There's a whole new season. So I've been relegated as well. It's not always been. Football very rarely goes in a straight line from A to B or from failure to success. There's normally a few bumps along the road. So as long as we can build a resilient team who are mentally tough and fit, it's not a bad start point.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the job, Mike. It's the first thing sort of finding out who wants to be here, who doesn't. It's just sort of simple as that.
Yeah, well, until I meet the players, until I get a feel for it, and I've come in on high alert. Is probably the best way I can describe it. A fresh pair of eyes, but I won't be heavily involved in the training in the first week or 2 weeks because I'll be watching players closely to try and pick up on body language, and I'll be having conversations with them as well. And it wasn't one brush fits all, one stroke is going to affect everyone the same way. So I think it's I need to find out who does want to be here. Is the reality of someone saying, well, I'm off because agents tell players what they want to hear. I'll tell players if we get a bid, I'll tell them. Because I think you're best off telling the truth, which is just be straight with people so we all know where we stand.
And not having people feeling sorry for themselves, because that can bring everything down, can't it, really?
I'm pretty simple in terms of, I'm pretty simple full stop, but pretty simple in the way that I work. It's not a bad job. So come in and work with a smile on your face, run around like the 8, 9-year-old kids are at school who all want to go and play for Barnsley. And that's what talk about ego, and then go home. It's not too much to ask, and it's not, you're not working 6 till 6 like some people are. So, and it's having just come in with a smile on your face. It's the best job in the world. Don't don't let that pass you by, because it does, and I've seen it, and all these people that did it years ago, and they look back and they go, I wasted the best years of my life. So trying to get them to realise that it's not a bad gig.
Yeah. Is it about daily standards on and off the pitch, the right sort of character and driving a culture almost with it?
Yeah, it's just basic habits. You know, be humble, work hard, have a bit of respect for someone, and have a little bit of enthusiasm. So you're talking about they're probably the 4 pillars that I work on.
Yeah, in terms of your own sort of upbringing with your family and everything, was it in the forces that seems to be it's been massive in building you and your character and working through your career?
Yeah, you talk about resilience. I think I went to 7 or 8 primary schools.
Yeah.
So I bounced around, and you just got to get on with it. Can't feel sorry for yourself. Well, all my mates are there, but I've gone to the next primary school. What are you going to do? Nothing you can do. Just crack on and get some new friends.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the way I've been brought up. Obviously, went to school in Yorkshire from 10 to 16. So again, I know what a Yorkshireman looks like. Played for Yorkshire at cricket, played for Yorkshire at football, ran for Yorkshire. So it's I know what a Yorkshire person looks like. So I had a mate I used to go to school with who texted me yesterday. I've not heard from him for 10 years. Him and his son are season ticket holders at Barnsley.
Yeah.
So I apologise to him in advance.
and you're finally back in Yorkshire.
Yeah. It's Phileas Fogg. I've lived everywhere, so it's come full circle.
I mean, in terms of what the town of Barnsley represents, it values hard work, humility, and honesty. That seems to fit in with everything, in terms of your character and what you're about as well.
Yeah, and that's not me trying to win fans over. They're the 4 things that, and stick enthusiasm to it as well. So I think it's all right being hard working, but if you dour around the place all the time, it's like, don't be a mood hoover. If you're not feeling great, you don't have to tell the world. Just come in, do your job and go home. Say good morning, have a smile on your face, and it's amazing what you can do with a little bit of positivity.
Yeah. It's not all about millions of pounds, it's about whatever you've got, using it well and truly, isn't it? Whatever you
I think so. I think it's pretty clear that the club isn't going to break the bank to try and almost bet the ranch almost. That isn't going to happen. But there's many ways. Success looks in many different ways. So we're not Man City. We're not going to do that. So you need to find a different way. So build a culture. But because there's some good players here, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. They might have had a disappointing year last year, but there's some seriously good players. So I think there's something to work with.
Yeah. And what would you say, your sort of footballing influence have been massive on your career? You mentioned, Sean Dyche, and that was about building a together set of players, organised, strong, and really good human beings as well.
Yeah, Steve Cottrell was a big influence on me earlier in the early part. In terms of my managerial career, the way that we play, that's sort of mine. You're always going to learn off people that have done it and been there. And John Ward is a mentor of mine at the LMA.
Yeah.
But there's lots of good people who always want to help you. I'm a young manager. I can't know it all. It's impossible. Anyone can know it all anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy to ask for advice, and no way do I ever think that my way or the highway. I'm open to learning, just the same as the player should be.
I think I read somewhere you took Cheltenham to endurance training with the Marines or something, wasn't it? Can Barnsley expect a bit of that in the future, the players?
No, that was because I'm from a military background. We couldn't win a game at the start, and basically these 2 guys, they were ex-Marines. They came in and they helped give the players almost like a common goal. And they used language that was similar to mine, but from a different environment. And as a byproduct of that, we went on a good run. We did really well, and they said, right, we'll take you for a day out in the Forest of Dean, which weirdly the players really liked it. Yeah, it was interesting.
No, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anybody from the back? Thank you. Congratulations and welcome to Barnsley. It's good to have you. It's been a long time coming out. It appears to be in media. Beginning of your Cheltenham career, you wore a suit. Results didn't quite work out and you ditched it. Will we expect a suit at Barnsley?
No, this will be in the bin after this.
No problem. That's fine. And have you been to club shop and have you got a gilet ready? Because I know you believe in the lucky gilet, don't you?
Well, no, that one in the league, it got parked up. So I didn't really. I am very, very superstitious, so
Yeah.
you see me doing weird, like, steps and twitches and things like that. It's, but I'm only superstitious if we're obviously being successful. So hopefully this time next season I'll have some random quirky thing that's, well, we won a game doing that, so it's not a specific, it has to be a gilet or it has to be anything else, it's just weird basically.
Brilliant, thank you.
Can I just... You
No. Neil from Tax TV. I just want to speak on behalf of many thousands of Barnsley fans to welcome you to Barnsley Football Club. Have you had a look round Academy and been impressed with the Academy facility that we've got, and can we see development of youth carrying on like Matty Wolfs and Aidan Marshes?
I think it's a difficult question to ask. Obviously I know I've played against Bobby for years, so again someone that I've got a relationship with. I think the facilities are good, and I think I want to do exactly what I've done in my last club. I want to move it forward. You want to produce players, of course you want to produce local players, because supporters always cheer that little bit harder for the local lad. So that's something I'll be trying to do. A byproduct of the club I've just been at, the analyst has just been poached by somebody else. The academy manager has been poached by Cat 1 Academy. The head coach has just been poached by another. So again, it's if the team are winning, you'll always get like a cascade of success. So in answer to your question, I haven't got my fingers dirty in terms of like trawling through the academy, but I've spent an hour with Bobby this morning. Some of the younger lads were training, just trying to find out bits and bobs about them. So it's something that I will take an active interest in. It's not, I won't only be focused on the first team, because I think it's part of the job personally.
Thank you and welcome to Barnsley Football Club.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, just a quick one for me. Obviously you've spoken about how you've only been 2 clubs in your career, and your commitment to moving to Barnsley in terms of moving your family up. But obviously this is a club where there's been lots of chopping and changing over the last couple of years. How confident are you that you'll get the backing long term to make this a long term project for the club as well?
Well, the family won't be moving out. I'll be moving out. They'll come and visit as and when. I'm realistic enough. You know, I can come in and every manager's going to say all the right things at the start. I'm realistic enough to know that if you don't win enough games, I'm going to get the sack. So it's not something that scares you. It's just the reality of the job that I'm in. But I'm also aware of the other side, that if you can get it going, that's the potential that is here. You know, the supporters have had it before, they've had a taste of it and they want more of it. So, going back to the very first question, it was, can you build something? Ultimately, you want to get out of the league and then stay in the next one and build again. But there needs to be continuity. There needs to be things put in place where it can't be. I think I'm the 5th manager in 15 years, in 15 months, if you include Davins in that as well. So, and not all for bad. Obviously, one left because of success. So, I want to build something. That's what I want to do. Hopefully, I'm around to do it. If I'm not, then good luck to the next person that does it, because it's a great club.